Now, Erik Solheim is a former Environment and International Development Minister in Norway.
I think this is very significant. Two issues stand out to me. One is to avoid any sort of trade wars, because there is a concern in Europe that China is now so super efficient in any industrial sector that Europe struggles to compete, and we should avoid that the European response to that is any sort of protectionism, but a dialogue with China as to how to overcome difficulties. And the other is geopolitics. Of course, there is I think a very strong concern in the Nordic nations that the historic relationship to the US cannot continue in the way it was. The Nordic nations need new allies and new ways of thinking. Greenland is, of course, very much on everyone's mind, and in that context, China is a potential long-term partner.
Norway is not an EU member, but is very closely allied with the European Union. Is there a role for Norway in trying to help ease trade tensions between China and the EU?
In some way, it may help. I mean, for example, Norway has no car industry. It stands outside the European Union, so it may be more easy for Norway to import Chinese cars than for some other European markets. And Norway, of course, now have a 97% penetration of electric cars in the sale of new cars. So that may be one area where there may be opportunities for Norway to play a role. But overall, of course, Norway is fully integrated in the European in the market and will abide with major decisions made by Brussels.
Both China and Norway are leaders in the green energy transition. Where do you see future opportunities between the two nations in this specific field?
This was, of course, more true 10 years ago than it is today. I mean, 10 years ago, the Nordic nation may even have been ahead of China. Now, of course, China is far ahead of the Nordic nations when it comes to the green energy. China may be 95% of all solar panels, 70% of all batteries. The 6 largest wind energy companies in the world are all Chinese. So the Nordics now have a lot to learn from China, and the Nordics need Chinese equipment if we want to turn green fast. I mean, there's no nation in the world can go green fast now without China. But this, of course, creates difficulties. There is a huge European trade deficit with China, I think. But the open solutions is more European export to the Chinese market and more partnership, more joint ventures in Europe where Europe get access to Chinese top quality and technology in the green sectors.